What's up, y'all? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Welcome to Entree Woman TV. If it is your first time here, welcome to the channel. My name is Diana Galatney, host of Entree Woman TV, owner of Entree Woman TV, and host of tonight's live stream. So whether you're watching this live or on the replay, thanks for being here tonight. We're going to be jumping into some live streaming questions. But again, if it's your first time here, whether you're live or on the replay, on this channel, I help you simplify the video creation process. And whether that is actually using your camera, whatever it is that you're using to do that for your videos, or whether it's for live streaming, then I help you simplify that process, because I believe everybody deserves to connect with your business and your passion and your purpose for why you started your business to begin with. And I believe video is the best way to do that. On tonight's live stream, I'm going to be jumping into some of the questions that you guys have. If you're live, then obviously if you're on the replay, I'd have to jump into that in the comments and be able to reply to you there. Otherwise, pulled some questions from some previous videos that I've done regarding live streaming with the Canon M50, live streaming with my Sony a6400, like I have done many times before and like I'm doing right now. Whether it's the gear that I'm using or the connectivity or just like issues when it comes to tech, this is what this stream is all about, and we'll be addressing some of those questions for as long as you have questions or until I run through the questions that I have pulled and curated. But otherwise, I'm glad that you're here. So thanks for being here. Thanks for your time and attention. All right, so a couple questions that come, it's usually based around, just so we're all on the same page, it's usually based around when you're live streaming with the Canon M50, do you need the Elgato Cam Link? Or if I have Ecamm Live, do I still need that? And all of whatever. We all know the global crisis that's going on right now health-wise. And right now, live streaming is one of the best ways, if not the best way, that we can stay connected. And so if you're wanting a look like this so that you still have a very professional and produced look and just quality to your videos that not only honors the people that are there live, but also those that will watch it on the replay as well. I think doing that with a camera that you already own is one of the best ways to do that. And it's very, very easy. It's no need to complicate the process. And sometimes videos leave certain things out, or it's just kind of like a lead into a course or whatever the case is. So hopefully I can be able to address some of those different concerns. And after this live stream, I'll be linking up in the eye card up above. It'll be like a little white eye or little white circle with the eye in the middle. And that will link you over to a live streaming playlist that I did on the M50 and just about any other Q&A videos like this where I've addressed certain questions. So let's jump into it. So far we have Wambui made it. Good to see you. Glad you're here. We also have Nicole, I believe. Good evening. Good evening, saying evening, Diana. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. So some of the questions. This is one that I got here previously. It says, can the Canon M50 be used for Skype, Zoom, and any other conference call platforms? Also, well, it says it's the second question, but it says also, do I need the Elgato Cam Link if my laptop can support HDMI connection? So this is a two-part question, so I'll break this down. So the first part of this question is asking, can you use the Canon M50 for live streaming for like Skype, Zoom, and other conferencing call platforms? So to answer that question, it is yes. You can actually use the Canon M50 for live streaming. There are two primary ways that I talk about on how to do that, and that is using the Elgato Cam Link. That is an HDMI connection. That is a cable, and it's like a little adapter piece that basically it's pulling the signal from the camera to the HDMI port in your computer so that your computer will read that as a web camera. That's pretty much all that is. It's tricking your computer to believing that your real and regular camera is an HD, or not HDMI, but is a web camera. The other way that I talk about on how to do that, it's a much easier way, but it's unfortunately, it's only available if you are a Mac user. And that's through a software that I'm using even tonight, which is Ecamm Live. So I absolutely love Ecamm Live. I do a lot of beta testing for the different products and services that are available and just all kind of stuff. I can't stop gushing about Ecamm Live because it just makes doing all of this very professional, but extremely simple. So if you have a Mac, that's the route that I would suggest. But even if you have that, either way, you can use that for Zoom and stuff like that. How do you do that? There will be a specific video that should be coming out this week or the week that this video is published, where I'll be doing a tutorial on what that looks like. But it's exactly the same connectivity that you do for just using the cam link, which is basically connecting the cam link to your camera, and you're using that as a web source. So when you go and select the camera, just like you can pick the microphone that you're using, or you can pick the camera that you're using, it'll say cam link, and you want to pick cam link, and then you'll see the feed. Like, for example, this one is what will show up in Zoom and stuff like that. I've done that for coaching call and stuff like that, and it works just fine. The same limitations that go into using the camera, as I've talked about in previous videos, when it comes to specifically the M50, it's the same problems that you're going to run into. Now, if you're using Ecamm, you don't have that. If you're using a cam link, check back to those videos and it'll give you all the details on that. So that's how that works. Second part of this question is, do you need the Elgato cam link if your laptop can support an HDMI connection? So with that, if you have, so let's clarify real quick. So the question is saying, do I need an Elgato cam link if my laptop supports HDMI connection? And the reason why this question is even being asked is because most people figure, because I have an HDMI connection in my camera and my computer has one, why can't I just take a regular HDMI cable that will connect from my camera to my computer and not buy the Elgato cam link? And this is a legitimate question, because the thing that we need to do is convince the computer and the way that it reads information that the camera is a regular USB web camera, not some DSLR or mirrorless camera. And that's why we would need something like Ecamm Live or something like the Elgato cam link, specifically what we're referencing here. That's why we would need that Elgato. It has different components in the inside of it, and it's just about the same size as a USB thumb drive. And that little device basically takes the information from the camera, has the computer read it like a regular USB web camera. That's why some people honestly go ahead and opt to buy the Logitech C920, the Logitech C922 or 922X, and then the Logitech Brio. And Logitech continues to come out with new cameras. At the time of recording this video, I would absolutely advise everybody be careful with buying web cameras right now, because of this global illness and stuff that's going on. Some of the sellers on Amazon have been very shady, and they have taken those cameras that maybe cost $79, $60, like for the C920, all the way up to the Brio that maybe would run like $179, maybe brand new retail price, and they're charging $449 for it. If you see an absorbent price or you're not sure, you can definitely make myself available on Instagram, which is at Diana Gladney. Go ahead and ask me, is this a legit price? And I will let you know. But if you see, honestly, for any of those Brio cameras on down or whatever, if you see anything more than probably $199 US, don't buy it, because it's just like price stuffing at that point, or just like price gouging. So that's that. Let's see here. We got Cheryl Craven saying, hey, Diana, good to see you, Cheryl. Glad that you're here. Wembui is saying, what camera are you using tonight? I am using my Sony a6400, and I'm actually using the Elgato cam link. So from the time that I got the Sony a6400 last August, I'd say nearly all streams, 99% of them have been with the Sony a6400. So yeah, once I got that, then I kind of put the M50 to the side. I have no shame in my game about that. And so Alex Miner, cam links are currently sold out in the US. Yeah. So right now, that's another thing with all of this stuff going on, is that all the cam links just about are being sold out. However, if you're trying to get your hand on a cam link, you have people like myself that have multiple ways that we can stream. Some of us are like literally sending it to people that we know so that they can do live streaming and stuff like that. I had a buddy of mine send his camera off to another pastor so that he can go ahead and start streaming for his church and stuff like that. And so like that's been something like, one, if you're a part of a community, if somebody has an extra one or something like that, probably connect with them or whatever the case is, or maybe you can leave a comment down below. Obviously be careful with some of this stuff, but Facebook Marketplace is still a good place that I'm finding that you can find Elgato Cam Links. There is a couple other ones. One is by a company called like Magewell or something like that. Livestreaming pros, David and Luria, they talk about that a lot. And then there's something like an AJA UTAP or something like that. So there are a couple other types of streaming components, but even they're saying like most of the stuff is kind of sold out. So check locally. Facebook Marketplace, I would say, hey, go travel, meet somebody, but obviously it's not safe any dang on where right now. So that's the sucky part. But you can still meet at like a police department or something like that if you did find one locally. But just keep your eyes out, honestly, if you need something like that. But I said for Mac users and you have a Canon camera, something more recent, just go with Ecamm Live. Even if you only use it for the next couple months to get you through, if it's not something that you want to do long term, just use Ecamm Live. That's honestly what I would suggest. Alex, you're also saying better hit eBay. I'm not an eBay shopper, so I can't give like any tips if anybody asks, but eBay is kind of where you want to go, depending. Henry, good to see you. Glad to see you're here. You're saying, what do you think about the newer 35mm f1.7? So when it comes to Neewer's lenses that they have, I've not seen where the quality is bad on any of them that I've seen. I've never personally used one because most of the time they're manual focused lenses. And I am not somebody that suggests for most of my audience is for entrepreneurs. So they're experienced entrepreneurs more or less, but they're newbie when it comes to video. And honestly, manual focus is frustrating if you don't know what you're doing. And just like it's going to slow you down. So if it's a manual focusing lens, like most of the newer lenses are, I personally don't recommend them, even if the quality is amazing, because, and especially at the price points, which is like usually under $100 for sure, you can always find a good manual lens. But that means if I decide I don't want to sit here anymore and I want to sit back there or just sit a little bit further back, I now have to get up, go tweak and adjust the lens so that I'm in focus. And if it's slightly off, let's say I've had videos where it's like focus on the microphone because I was doing manual focus that day for whatever reason, and I'm sitting back here, well, to get a shallow depth of field in a blurry background, now I'm blurry. Like I'm blurry and the black background or behind me or my shoulders or somewhere that depth of field is small. So you just need to know what you're doing if you're investing in a manual lens. I don't recommend that because most people aren't filmmakers. So I don't typically go that route. I don't have any complaints around it per se, but at the same time, it's like meh. So Alex Miner, which is a filmmaker, so you can absolutely take his word for it. So he's saying the Blackmagic ATEM Mini. So he's saying that is great for live streaming, and I know he has one of those. Again, it's like I go for simplicity and ease of use for it. But at this point, it's like if you need something, absolutely need something, then you kind of want to deal with the learning curve, honestly. So it's like that's available. And that I don't think it's that hard to use either. It's just a matter of, again, for you that may be the buyer, can you handle the learning curve for the gear that you're purchasing? So most of the stuff I recommend, it's not a steep learning curve around it. But again, times being what they are, you may have to take something that is a little bit of an extra step for you, depending on how they go. So, Felicia, good to see you. Saying hello, Diana. Blessings. Thanks for making yourself available. My pleasure, sister. Glad that you are here. So we got PCP Media. Well, that was a pleasant surprise. I came to check to see your newest videos, and you're currently live. Yes, I am. And you know what, y'all? Y'all don't have to hit that bell, like for real, because, what I've done, which I don't have the video up yet, but it's dianagladney.com/connected. dianagladney.com/connected. If somebody could type that in the chat for me, I appreciate it. And go ahead and put the www in front of that. Because right now, with a lot of these companies not being able to be fully staffed, like even I'm checking for people that I want to see, that I know I'm subscribed to, that I know I have notifications on for, not getting alerts, not even seeing it come up in my news feed or subscriptions feed, not coming up on the homepage, recommended, and it's like bugs flying everywhere in YouTube. Can't find anything or anybody. Like I have to go to their channel, click on the video, and it's just frustrated. So go to dianagladney.com/connected, and you'll be able to see. Actually, let me put this up here real quick because it's getting frustrating, honestly. And that's the best way to stay connected with me and figure out when I am live streaming and what we're doing and all that stuff. So you can go here, right here, dianagladney.com/connected, so that you can figure out all the ways to connect with me. The best way is honestly get on the email list. I'll let you know when I'm going live or when new videos are coming out. I try not to spam people via email and all that, but right now that's the best thing that I have because I own that website. So appreciate that. So Nicole Dre, hopefully I'm saying that right. Let me know if I'm not. If you want to do live stream, semi-professional, what software and switcher do you recommend? If you have a Mac, my number one recommendation almost always is going to be Ecamm Live. And here's why. If I could show you what my actual desktop looks like right now, to be able to do all the different things, just like right now I'm about to kick a song on, you'll be able to hear that kicking on. I can adjust the volume and we can all rock out. But if I wanted to stop it or turn it down, then I could do that. I don't need a switcher. It's just literally the click of a mouse if I want to bring this up or turn it down. And I would say that this is semi-professional. It's enough for you to be able to do a live stream. It's enough for you to bring comments on, or even for a ministry, if I wanted to have my live intro. There we go. You know, all the components that go into a normal video I can have here. Even if I wanted to say and plug my own stuff and say, hey, everybody, I want you to make sure you subscribe to the podcast, bring this image up and so on and so forth, then I can do that. And so this is why I recommend Ecamm Live. It's literally, you see it, you can click on it, or you can organize your stream or your event or whatever the case is. And it just works and it makes it extremely easy. So if you have a Mac, that's the best way. If you don't have a Mac and you're still trying to do somewhat kind of a professional stream, then there are a lot of different softwares and platforms out there. And it's very hard to recommend a PC-based one because any of that I have tried have a lot of flub-ups. A lot of people are checking out StreamYard, and as much as I've tried, like I used to do beta testing for StreamYard. Now, honestly, after several months of dealing, it just is extremely frustrating. But if you're bringing on guests, that is like the easiest way. Them in like Be Live or whatever, but at the same time, them being browser based, which means it's like you go to you go to StreamYard.com or whatever, or you go to Be Live, then you literally are just sending somebody a web link and they can join. You get some of the same components kind of, but the difference is whereas I'm speaking, my lips are moving in sync with everything else that's going on StreamYard. If you try to do this, like just simply connect your camera or even up to using a web camera, it's going to fall apart. Like I'm talking and then my mouth is doing this like 12 seconds later. I've tried everything that I can think of, every connection. I've, hit them up and been in connection with them. It just honestly doesn't work. So if you can deal with that a little bit or have some delay, it is noticeable. Depending on how newbie your audience is to video, they may recognize it. I'm seeing people use it, and they use it because it's like kind of don't have a choice, but they're easy to use. vMix can get pretty pricey just to kind of add in all these different components like I'm doing here with Ecamm, but it's very professional. You can do it for, like I said, churches, nonprofits, even streams like this and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. Those are the options that are kind of available for PC. Nothing that's like, over the hills. Wirecast, maybe. Again, if you're getting more premium features when it comes to like the PC side of things and those services, then understand you may be paying a premium. But at the same time, it's like I would pay the extra dollar if the dependability is there. With StreamYard, just solely for the fact that it just gets out of sync. It sucks, and they just refuse to fix it. They don't think it's a problem or that most people won't notice, and they just let it fly, and I can't deal with that. So I should be doing a stream with it. I've been giving them another shot, and every time it just falls flat. So I'll let y'all see what that looks like in some tests coming up, but at the same time, that's the best I got when it comes to that. So Felicia, you're asking, or you're saying, hey, what do you like most about the Sony as opposed to the M50? I have the M50. Honestly, because I do I have a video editing and production company, because I need my cameras to have dual purpose, that's why I decided to go the Sony route versus the M50. It's not so much so because for YouTube or for anything that I would be doing, that it wouldn't work. But at the same time, I'm also looking, like me, having a purchasing problem when it comes to cameras. When I look at what everything that the M50 has, what is Canon offering, the price of the lenses, if I wanted to get better quality lenses that have autofocus, stabilization in the lens and stuff like that. When I compare the two companies, like for Sony and Canon, if I look at the M50, it's fine for now, and it's fine for the time that I had it. But at the same time, moving forward, if I look forward just a year or two in advance, so like 2020 and 2021, my question became, what camera are they going to come with after that? And what features is it going to have? Because for the M50, I mean, like, yeah, I did a lot with this camera, more than what they initially made it to do. But at the same time, I don't want to buy another Canon camera in a year or two and still have to hack the crap out of that camera. And so it's just like when I compared the two, like versus what Sony offers right out of the box, not having to do any hacks, not having to do any ton of workarounds, Sony makes it very easy. And they have, for the same price point, better quality when it came to everything that I would need, not just for my video production side of things when I'm doing video shoots, but also for stuff like this. So that's what made the difference for me to go ahead and make that switch, is because of the client work that I would be doing. But then also, when I just want to sit down and do an impromptu live stream like tonight, I came up with this maybe 2 hours ago. I don't want to have to think of the hacks and the workarounds and what if I want to do this and what if I want to do that. The growth point from the M50 to maybe the RRP didn't look good. And whatever camera that I thought that they would come out with next didn't look great. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to keep spending more money with Canon and still have to do workarounds. And it honestly is to the point, even with live streaming pros, with Luria and David, they completely removed Canon as well, just for the same frustrations, because they're not supporting creators with the cameras that they're making. Won't give you clean HDMI, won't do this, 30-minute recording limits when there's no real need for it. So those were my biggest things when I compared what I liked most about the Sony versus the M50. It just did not have many restrictions. All right, so Sustainable Bites, you're saying hello. Thank you for keeping us informed and entertained. Thank you. During these difficult times. How do you get clean HDMI without losing autofocus on the M50? So I did a specific video on this. So as best as I can, I'll go back through this video and link everything up above. But there is a whole playlist for live streaming and then for the M50 as well on the channel. So the way that I was getting clean HDMI without losing autofocus on the M50 was that, well, honestly, clean HDMI, it's like there's no way, honestly, to get autofocus and still have the HDMI connection. The way that I was able to get autofocus, though, because those are two separate things, the way I got autofocus was through Ecamm Live. They have built into their software where you just use a USB connection cable like this one here. So literally this USB cable that comes with any old school Android phone or whatever, most people have them lying around their house someplace. This USB cable is all that I would need to live stream with the Canon M50 and Ecamm Live. And so through Ecamm Live, they were able to bypass the 30-minute recording limit, and they were able to make sure that you were able to keep autofocus, access to the screen, and all those different things. When you're doing live streaming with the HDMI connection on the Canon M50, you don't have autofocus. There was a way that you could bypass the 30-minute timeout, because at 30 minutes, just live streaming, not recording, you're able to, or the camera would time out and the screen would go dark. So instead of you seeing me, it'd just be like a black screen. You still could hear me, but you couldn't see me. So because of that reason, well, there was a way to get around it. And again, it gets a little messy. Connect the USB, open EOS utility software, then connect the HDMI. It got a little messy, but at the same time, it was a way to do it. So those are two different things. You're not going to get autofocus and the HDMI connection, but that will require Ecamm Live, and that's a USB connection, not HDMI. So sorry if that's a little bit confusing, but at the same time, that's how that works. So I see some conversations going on there, so I'm going to jump down to some questions. So Wambui saying, I use Ecamm and love it. My issue is my enter will sometimes go in and out, paying for, I'm guessing, internet. So we're paying for the fastest in New York City. Any suggestions for Wi-Fi or internet boosters? When it comes to live streaming and you're going to use any camera, honestly, I would not suggest using Wi-Fi at all. I absolutely would suggest going the route of getting an Ethernet cable. And even if you need to like have it next to, like I have like bought this long cord that goes from this computer over to the wall or whatever. And just, you can either run that on along the ceiling, or you can run it along the floor or something like that. But you absolutely want to use Ethernet. The reason why is because Wi-Fi, even like I had spent at the time, was one of the more expensive Wi-Fi routers. It was like $250 that I bought that Wi-Fi router to get higher Wi-Fi speeds. However, with all the different things that you're doing when it comes to live streaming, you don't want to do that via Wi-Fi. You want to have Ethernet connections, because not only will you get faster speeds, or some of the fastest speeds that you're buying right now with your internet, you also have stronger and more reliable connectivity. So use Ethernet, don't use Wi-Fi. As far as boosters, though, I want to say it's a Wi-Fi repeater that you could use. So like, let's say the connection is in the basement and your upstairs is where your office is or where you're streaming or whatever. Then you should probably have to ask somebody at an electronics store or something. There's like Wi-Fi repeaters or something like that should be able to boost that signal if it's going from like one side of your house to like the other, or different floors and stuff like that. All right, so PCP Meteor is saying, I'm on PC and OBS and have an Elgato Stream Deck, and they're awesome. Okay, good. Glad to know. So Nicole, you're saying Nicole Dre, that's the right pronunciation. Thank you very much, because I most of the time screw up people's names on accident. All right. Henry, you're saying won't allow us to put the web address. Oh, okay. Let me see here. www. But I appreciate it. Thank you for trying. .com/connected. All right. So let's go back up here to the comments. Oh, yeah. So Alex, I forgot you mentioned that once before. So Alex is saying on PC, he recommends using XSplit. XSplit is, you'll see it like advertised towards gamers. And it was another one, Streamlabs OBS, I believe, is another one that you can use on PC as well. So those two is probably some of the better ones. But XSplit is what Alex is recommending. So I definitely suggest everybody check that out. So it'll say, again, that it's for streamers, not streamers, but for gamers is what they'll advertise it to. But it'll work for everything of what you're trying to do. So Felicia, you are saying, I have an XLR microphone connected to a Scarlett Solo run to my Mac. And so for everybody that don't know what she just said, and that may sound a little bit foreign to you, the Scarlett Solo, I think, is should be a microphone interface. So basically should turn that XLR connection, or you'll see like those three dots like on the bottom of this microphone. This is an XLR and USB microphone. Basically, it will turn the XLR connection so that the computer can read it and stuff like that. Says, I'm afraid to hit the live button in Ecamm because all training points to a USB microphone. How do I do a dry run? So basically, just wanting to test your connections without actually going live. And there are a couple different ways that you can do that. You can, one, record. So any videos that you see of me just kind of like at this setup right here, I'm using Ecamm Live to record. I'm not getting up to press record on the camera and then come back around and sit. I'm just hitting record within Ecamm Live. So that's what you can do. You can change it from like YouTube in the bottom right corner. You'll see those options, streaming options, like if you want to go to Facebook, if you want to go to YouTube or what have you. If you're wanting to just do a dry run and record, then change that option to record only. And then you can adjust the microphone and the video and test out what you would plan to do and see how that will run. If you wanted to do an actual live stream to see how well it would translate actually on YouTube, instead of doing a public video, you can click on that YouTube drop-down box instead of it saying record only. And then just instead of it being public, change the viewability or the visibility to unlisted or private. And then that way your subscribers won't see it. Nobody will be able to see it. It'll only be something that you see. So that's what I would suggest for that. Let's see here. PCP Media, you're saying I've got an M50 and I'm thinking the R5 will be the one. That is very great points. And that's the biggest thing. And I feel like everybody has those same sentiments across the board when it comes to Canon right now. It's like for the past several years, y'all have been charging us premium prices for barely any features. And you're used to just kind of getting the short end of the stick every single time. Now with the Canon R5, and I think some details got leaked for the R6, which I haven't looked into just yet. But it's like now that the R5 is coming out and we keep seeing these amazing specifications on the camera, everybody's like, yeah, it sounds too good to be true. And I would love to be proven wrong when it comes to the Canon R5. I just cannot, like, first of all, y'all wait for a global pandemic for you to say, okay, our bad, we'll give you some features. Sorry about that. Here you go. You know, you need every dollar. You know, it's like toilet tissue or new camera, you know. You know, just like, I don't trust Canon. And that's the biggest thing with me. They honestly lost my trust. And so it's like, I got to see it to believe it at this point with them, because they are, for so long, they have barely been giving anything. You have to do all these hacks and all this runaround. I need to see it. Like, I need to see it. So they're going to have to drop that camera for me to believe it. And even then, it's just like giving it to some average everyday Joes, not filmmakers per se, and seeing how they use it. Because if you pay attention, honestly, and this is not any, it's not no shade on anybody's channel or anything like that, but honestly, you give it to a Becky and a Chris, you give it to a Peter McKinnon or whatever, they can make anything look amazing. Let somebody that is you or I, for example, or somebody that knows nothing about video, for example, take that same camera out the box and they hit record on it, or somebody that's only been doing video for a year or something. It's just like, what did you have to do or manipulate or change or kind of massage to get that kind of look? Obviously, skill always will overpower any specifications. But at the same time, it's like, without excessive skill, what kind of a quality are you getting with that, you know what I'm saying, camera? So it's just like, I want to see it, and not just in the best of the best hands, but in some average Joe's hands as well, to see the difference in the variance in quality and stuff like that. Because at this point, it's just like, I need to see it for myself before I, like, for real take somebody's advice on stuff now. Because it's like, too many people massage features or massage limitations on a camera. It's kind of been bugging me lately. So Felicia's saying, thanks, my pleasure. So Henry's saying, always privileged to hear your expertise, but thanks for allowing me in the community. Well, you're quite welcome, Henry. There is a subscription fee, okay, of Colombian roast coffee. You can do nachos, Hawaiian punch. Any of those things will work. No, just kidding. No, I'm glad that you're here. All right. So Nicole Jerry is saying, I want to see more about the R5. I would too. I just hope it is everything of what they are saying that it is. But it's like right now, with the economy literally being different, I need to see price point. That camera, I'd be hard pressed to say that camera is not hitting $3,000. That's the biggest thing. I think that camera is going to hit about $3,000. So not to get too distracted with that, I want to make sure I hit the streaming questions real quick, and then we can talk cameras and whatever else. So Sustainable Bites saying, thank you. My pleasure. Okay, Felicia, you have another question here. You're saying, so with Ecamm and the M50, there is not a 30-minute record limit? No, there is not. With Ecamm Live, when you're using that with the USB cable that I showed, or it's not that one specifically, but just any USB cable just about that'll connect from the camera to the thing, they are able to bypass that completely. So no 30-minute recording limit. Even if I hit record with Ecamm Live, you can record as long as you want to. You can stream as long as you want to. I've done up to 6 hours successfully. And that means successfully means that's how long I stayed awake. So, and I was I was actively streaming that whole time. And it never flubbed up, which is weird, but it never flubbed up. Tried that with Ecamm, not Ecamm Live, tried that with StreamYard. It didn't work. So it was plenty of flub ups. But I'm not going to hate on StreamYard. I just want to see improvements, because I honestly believe when it comes to ease of use, they could very easily kill the game. They just need to tighten up some of their video stuff, and they're stuck at 720p, which is frustrating. It's like at least 1080p, but they have their own beliefs about this. So All right. So, Alex, you're asking a question. There are Wi-Fi repeaters that will send the signal through the electrical wiring of your house. So, everybody go to alexminer.com. No, I'm just kidding. Go to Ask Alex, hashtag Ask Alex, and y'all can ask him all about that. So, Merry Christmas to you. All right, so Henry saying, for issues with internet, all right, I'm going to let y'all have that one. So check the comments for anything regarding repeaters and things like such as, because I have no idea about any of that. So Alex, you're saying the R5 is being made at the same factory as the A7S III. And again, for those of you that don't know, and I'm going to hop to some other questions that I had screenshotted as well regarding live streaming. I'm going to touch that a little bit later. But otherwise, basically, he's saying that camera ain't coming. Neither here nor there, Alex. Neither here nor there. All right. So this question is asking, or is I guess asking for clarification. It's saying, hi, Diana. There is a 30-minute limit only when recording. So a lot of people get confused, to kind of give you the breakdown for this question as well. Some people get confused about like, is it 30-minute when you're live streaming? Do I need to hit the record button to live stream with the camera or what? So real quick, let me clarify that before I jump into any more of the question. When you connect your camera to live stream, whether it's the Canon M50 or any other camera, if there is a 30-minute recording limit, when specifically for recording, like you hit that red button and it's showing up and it's starting to count, then yes, for most of those cameras, if it has a 30-minute recording limit, that limit still exists. When I'm talking about a 30-minute limit for live streaming, that means that the Canon M50, just when you turn it on and connect it up via HDMI, it has a 30-minute limit where it's just going blank. The camera is going to go to sleep. So yes, if you hit the record button, it's a 30-minute limit on recording. Now, if you take that same camera, you're not hitting the record button, you're only connecting this up via HDMI, for example, and you're trying to live stream with it, the 30-minute limit that exists for that is the one that's already natively built into the camera, where it's just going to sleep. So your camera would have to be close enough for you to reach up, gently touch the shutter, not to take a picture or start recording, but just to wake the camera back up. That's the 30-minute limit that exists within the camera all by itself. If it wasn't connected to anything and your camera just sat there for 30 minutes, it'd go to sleep after 30 minutes. So that's what that is. So saying if you use the cam link to broadcast live, you only intercept the HDMI signal, not the camera itself, but the camera intercepts the HDMI. All right, so this is a little confusing just to read it. Let me try to summarize this. So again, what they're asking, because there's a couple different videos on the channel, so I'm going to try to break this down as simply as I can. There are a couple videos that I've done when it comes to live streaming on the Canon M50. One video says you can live stream with the Canon M50 using the Elgato cam link, and that is an HDMI connection. With that HDMI connection, the problems that exist with that are the 30-minute time limit where the camera will go to sleep. If you're only doing 10, 15, 20-minute live streams or whatever, you're fine because you won't exceed the 30 minutes. If you're doing a live stream like this, where you're already 40 minutes in, the camera would have been asleep minutes ago. So that's a problem. There's a second video that I did on the M50 for that to address that so that you can get beyond that. And what that video talked about was the hack where you connect the M50 via USB and you're using the EOS utility app. With that application open, and then you connect the HDMI and the cam link, then the camera won't go to sleep. I don't know why this works, but it works. But these are the frustrations that you're dealing with on the HDMI side of live streaming with the Canon M50. The other side, which would be the white chocolate, and this would be the dark chocolate side, which if you know me on Instagram and you follow, you know I don't like dark chocolate. So that's why this is the bad side, the HDMI. So we're going to put that down. The white chocolate side of things, okay, that is on the buffet in heaven, I am convinced. Of the white chocolate side of things is using Ecamm Live. And that video that I was talking about was sharing how you just use the USB cable in a Canon camera, or the M50 specifically, connecting that, and you're using Ecamm Live. At that point, you do not need a cam link at all. So if you're using Ecamm Live, you only need that USB cable. You don't need to purchase an Elgato cam link at all. So those are the two types of streaming ways that you can use the M50. Either you're connecting it via HDMI or you're connecting it via USB, and at that point we're talking about using software. The other software that exists, since Ecamm is only for Mac, the other software is called SparkoCam. Now, when I tested it, I didn't like it, but then at the same time, the old PC that I was trying it on, didn't have enough oomph to do it anyway. But my buddy, Joshua Verwers, had live streamed with it a ton in his work. So SparkoCam is a reliable option. David and Luria of Live Streaming Pros have used that, and it works. So SparkoCam, Ecamm Live via USB and software, or HDMI, dark chocolate, don't eat it, disgusting. So that's where I'm going. And that's where I'm going. Next question. So, let's see here. Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna come back from that one, because y'all having it in the having it in the comments. First of all, let's address the most important questions of tonight's live stream and comments. PCP Meteor is saying you don't like dark chocolate. We can't be friends. Yes, we can. All you need to do is turn from your wicked ways and eat white chocolate. It is better. Okay, so for y'all that follow me on Instagram, which is at Diana Gladney, you know, if I find dark chocolate in my trail mix, which I did this last week, it is going straight to the trash. It is disgusting. It tastes like mud. I don't care what about the cacao and about I don't care whose cow it is, anywhere where the chocolates come. White chocolate is better. I will forever say this. Okay, I want this on my tombstone. White chocolate is better. And then I wanted to say video is the best way to communicate. But I just think, like, okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I said, I don't want to be wasteful right now, right? The whole world is going ham. I don't want to be wasteful. Let me go ahead and try the dark chocolate. I ate some. I wasn't happy, but I said, my life is not hard enough yet. I've just locked this away, put it in the safety vault for later. Life is not hard enough yet for me to be eating dark chocolate. I'm just going to throw that out there. So Alex agreeing with him. It's just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. First of all, Alex, you're booted from the channel. You're going to be blocked. So nobody do hashtag Ask Alex, because he ain't about to be around here. No, but that's my opinion, and I will leave it at that. That is fact, and that is truth. I have given dark chocolate a chance, and it is disgusting, and I don't like it. Don't care who it's by, but every white chocolate I've tried is delicious, and it is heaven sent. Okay, it's what's going to carry you through these tough times out here in these streets. Okay, and that Christian fam, good to see you. Glad that you're here. So I really love your videos. Is there a way you can live stream on 2 platforms simultaneously via DSLR? So at that point, you're talking about using some kind of live streaming platform that will let you simulcast or multi-stream. Something like that I've recently tried for myself is Restream.io. So I'll try to put a link in the description after this stream. And that will let you stream to Facebook and YouTube and Periscope and all that stuff from just the one thing. So even within Ecamm Live, which is what I do my stuff out of, I just select Restream.io instead of like YouTube or Facebook only. I'll just select Restream.io. Once you connect and give the permissions, which is basically just a checkbox to say, yes, you can post for me, and yes, you can notify people that I'm live like Facebook or YouTube normally would. And at that point, now you're live streaming. And even though like I'm getting comments from you guys and stuff like that, and I'm pulling that on the screen, you'll still be able to do that if you're using like Ecamm Live, for example. But Otherwise, if you're just trying to stream to any other platforms and, just see with people's stuff, Restream.io, it's pretty good actually. And I know they usually have some discount codes. So if I can find one, I'll drop it down below, or a coupon code or something. But that's the route that I would recommend. So first of all, everybody unsubscribe that like dark chocolate. I'll take 1,000 less subscribers for dark. If you love dark chocolate, unsubscribe. No, just... It's nasty. Why y'all like this stuff? It is nasty. I'm gonna go back to my live streaming tips, okay? Because y'all not finna come for me on my own channel with my own stream in my own house. Gosh darn it! Was it Denzel Washington? I tell you right now, I tell you, it is not. It is white chocolate. It's not dark chocolate. Get somebody that could do a Denzel Washington voice. He sounds the same in every movie though, don't he? I'm just love you, Denzel, but kinda do. That's okay. It's hard out here in these streets. Y'all having a tough time, okay? I know you are. It's stressful, okay? Everybody on quarantine. You eating it because you don't have nothing better. I understand. I'll give you all a pass, and it's just, y'all be all right. So like Twitch, I'm not sure about. So this is in reference to the Restream.io. They have a ton of platforms that you can stream to. I do believe Twitch is available, but you probably want to check. They probably have it in their features list on the website, but I believe so. I think they do. They usually do just about every major platforms. So, say milk chocolate is right in the middle. It's cool. It's acceptable. It's allowed in the house. That's but dark chocolate, get out of here. All right, let's get to the last of these questions. So here is the question. First, wait, pause for the cause. Okay, that Christian fam, this is why, okay, comment of the day. Right here, dark chocolate is disgusting. Okay, if I could give 83,000 gold stars, you would get it right now. I'm just saying. Just gonna throw it out there. This right here, comment of the century. Disgusting. That man's going to heaven. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. It's the way. All right. So question 6. I would go ahead and answer these questions. Y'all cracking me up. It says, how does the battery last when you live stream with the Elgato? And they're asking so the battery doesn't run out. And so the thing is that when you're live streaming, you really don't want to be connected to the battery only, because at that point you're pulling a lot of resources from the camera and just having it on and stuff like that. The thing is that you might be good for about an hour. So as long as you're starting on a fully charged battery, you could be okay. But if people join, you're doing a Q&A session like this and it's going over, you don't want to do anything like that. So I just recently looked, and I'm sorry, but the battery thing that I use that I recommend, which is by Capaxin. Oh, it's too bright. Yeah. All right. So there we go. So this one by Capaxin that I recommend, they are sold out. Unfortunately, there are some other ones that I'm seeing people buying. You're taking a risk. That's all I can say. But you honestly want to use some kind of adapter. Again, at the time that I'm recording this, everything live streaming wise is getting sold out. So at the best, you want to just start off with a fully charged battery. Now, a question is, what happens when it runs out? Does the stream end? Does it crash? And it's like, no, I've had a battery die when I was still doing this with the G85. And somehow the battery died on me. I think I didn't pay attention to it being charged, whatever. If you decide to live stream with a battery and the battery goes dead in the middle of the stream, you can actually still have the audio going. And you can say, everybody be right back. Maybe if you have a more professional kind of setup where you can go to a be right back kind of a screen or something, you go ahead and swap the battery out. At that time, I didn't. I think I was just live straight to YouTube. I got up and I just said, hold on, y'all. And went and changed the battery. The camera came back on and I came back around and we moved on. So the cool thing now, though, is within YouTube, they have this YouTube editor within, it's not even Studio Beta anymore. It's just YouTube Studio. You might be able to chop that part out because they let you do very basic edits within that video editor. So if that ever happens in the middle of a stream, like this is a live Q&A, we're doing some like community chats and stuff like that. The thing is, you want to give yourself some space. So in the same way, when you're recording a video, you want to give yourself a pause. So if it goes dead, you don't have a choice as to where it cut off at. But when you come back in and that screen goes live, just give yourself a few seconds, smile, saying, all right, so next question. Just go ahead and jump to the next thing. Don't say, oh my gosh, I can't believe whatever, because now you're trying to cut in the middle of a sentence. So you just want to go ahead and look at the camera, smile, say, okay, guys, we're back. Let's go ahead, whatever. So that way, when you shave all of that other stuff off, you can start right at a point that makes sense. So it'll go black. You say, okay, we're right back after the camera blacked out. Let's jump into the next question, so that that jump makes sense in the video. And it's just not like, hey, everybody, bluck. And then you're like, oh my gosh, the camera, it just, to make it a little bit normal. So that's a thing. All right. This is testing my language going on right here. It says, whoo. I'm just going to say Nat, and hopefully you will forgive me. Said, I came late. Can I watch it again? Yeah, you should be able to scroll back on the play bar, so that'll go back. And then again, this video will be available via replay. So glad that you're here. Other question is saying, can you use the Elgato cam link on the Canon T2i and with Black Lantern? I don't know. And the thing is that me and my buddy have played around with Black Lantern and Canon cameras, from the Canon M to the M50, the M3. The thing is that when you are introducing multiple components into your live streaming setup, you're introducing more opportunities for failure, especially with something that's like a third-party software. At that point, you can't resell that camera back to Canon or anything like that. You're kind of stuck. So as you're introducing multiple components, the Black Lantern, the Elgato, the streaming platform, the and this, that, or whatever, there's a possibility for failure. Now you have to go through this chain link, for example, and figure out where is the failure point and how do you repair to make these things talk and communicate like they're supposed to. So it's the same way with OBS. Honestly, the Canon T2i is kind of old to kind of use it for live streaming. I know for like up to like the Canon T6i that I've seen, you're able to live stream with it. The Canon M3, you're able to live stream with it using the Elgato Cam Link. It's just as you're introducing multiple components, you're now introducing points of failure or risk of failure and stuff like that. And I cannot say that it will or will not work. Even if you got it to work, again, if like something happens, I don't know how to fix that kind of stuff. So that's some questionable areas right there. So, are you saying Magic Lantern? Well, I know Magic Lantern. I know what you mean. So Magic Lantern, but yeah, it's like Magic Lantern. Again, it's just like the third-party software. It's kind of So Cheryl, you're saying, I'm looking to teach a fitness class, but not sure I'm ready to go live. Should I use the M50 to record and upload to YouTube? And then a second question saying, should I be using special software or apps? So great question, Cheryl. So let's address the first part. Said, should you use the M50 to record and then upload the video to YouTube? The thing is that when you're doing live streams, you want to kind of have a flow. The difference with recorded videos is it gives you the opportunity to think about the content, record it in such a way that you can put it together that makes sense, remove any parts that kind of didn't or maybe won't provide the best value to the people. And even if you're editing that video, you can say, oh man, I didn't really explain that clearly, or oh man, I probably should. And you could stop, record another segment and add that in, just like, hey guys, real quick, just wanted to jump in here. And you can have some ability to be more creative with making it more of a finished product per se. When you're doing live streams, the best way to do that is still have a similar format, but you're doing it in real time. When I get thirsty, I can't stop and pause and say, and that's the best way to answer that question. Smile, look at the camera, give a few seconds for for me to cut off and take a break, I don't have that opportunity. So if you sneeze, it's live. If you pass gas in the middle of it, it's live, And so the difference is with the two, you just have to know how to navigate, be human, being engaging and things like that with your live streaming, depending on how you're doing that. And so you're saying, should you just upload it? It's up to you, honestly, whichever one. And you're saying, should you be using a special software or apps? When it comes to deciding if you're going to go live or not, honestly, I think it's important to flex those muscles a little bit. Get used to building those muscles. And that's what live streaming is. It's a muscle building exercise, more or less. Because whether somebody shows up or not, which most streams in the beginning, and even still, it's like you'll have where it's not as many people or hardly anybody. It could be a lot of things that go into that time of day. Are people busy in your audience and stuff like that, or whatever? You have to get used to, what do you do when nobody shows up? What do you do when a few people show up? And what do you do when a lot of people show up? And then two, you getting comfortable being on camera with a live audience. Like if I did not know my stuff and I didn't know what I was talking about, that is easily detectable in a live stream, because you can ask me a question and either I legit say, I don't know, like when it came to like the repeaters for, boosting Wi-Fi signals, I have no problem saying, I don't know. But if I'm claiming to be somebody to help you with video and I know nothing about video, then I can't read a paper or research it or read a teleprompter and make a pretty video. Like I have to give those answers in real time. So it's a lot of things that go into live streaming, community building. Like if I added the part about dark chocolate in a video, somebody that's having a really hard time with live streaming, they may not be in the mood and don't care for, my antics and, stuff like that. I don't have a time to go back and forth and, like they want more straight to the point. They are coming with an expected, they're looking for something to be delivered to them. So they're coming to your video with an expectation. If you're saying you're going to teach me how to stretch my calf muscles so that I don't get a Charlie horse in the middle of the night, then I come with that expectation. Maybe I don't really want, if that's something I'm really suffering with, I really don't want your jokes and all that stuff. Maybe I don't mind a couple, but I don't even know how long I went for that because it's live. But if it's too long, they just get to the point. And that's where you get frustration points in the comments. So both muscles need to be worked. So probably those that are more detailed, require more training, more explanation, or you want to zoom in or, really show detailed points or whatever the case that you think would serve the audience best, do those where you're uploading and editing those videos, because editing videos, even at its most basic form, requires work and you want to get used to doing that. If you're live streaming, it's a whole nother different muscle. That's like saying, well, I'm just lifting weights with this one arm and I hope my legs get bigger. That's the difference between just like recording videos versus trying to just, get stronger legs, and that's live streaming. So it's two totally different muscle groups per se. So that's what you want to use. And then finally, you're saying, should I be using special software or apps? Should you? It's not even a should, you should or should not. It's more of a what are you comfortable with? And if you're just getting started with live streaming, don't introduce a ton of things like using a real camera and the microphone and blurry backgrounds, and one thing at a time. When I first started live streaming, I started with my Logitech C920 camera. And then I was like, oh, it's not bright enough. Let me add lights. Bought lights, start learning how to use lighting for the videos to get the look that I wanted. And then I'm like, well, I kind of want better video quality. Then I have these cameras. I'm like, how do I do it with that? So I just started adding on. And even after live streaming with a camera for a time, then I introduced software later. So it was a build-up process. And along that time, you're constantly flexing and, stretching and building that muscle for live streaming. As you're doing that, it's like you're introducing the new skills and the things that you've learned over time. Then be okay with adding software. If you introduce everything at once, if you're game for doing it and you can afford the learning curve and the time that goes into it, I'm all for it. I'm one of those people that like to do that kind of stuff. Like I want to mix and match and let me, test and push myself. You have to know your limitations and your limits with your frustration points. If that's going to frustrate the hell out of you, don't do it. So that's my full recommendations around that kind of. PCP Media saying the best camera for live streaming is a cheap Canon camcorder. Yeah and no, because some of those, Camcorders honestly look worse than the web camera that's built into your laptop. And that's just being honest. The thing is, though, can you do it with a camcorder? Yeah, and you have hardly any limitations with it. But the thing is, it's like most of the time the quality kind of sucks. So when you add lights, even with the Logitech C920, and I've tricked some of y'all with some of the videos that I've done back in the day, and I'll introduce the web camera instead of my regular camera, depending, it's like, especially like if it's a video with a kit lens or something, nobody ever said anything, never recognized. Because the video features that you learn, or video skills that you learn over time, if you know what you're doing, you can make adjustments and stuff like that. So honestly, like I said, I would rather tell somebody to get a web camera versus a camcorder, because you're introducing a bunch of stuff, and it's honestly for the quality and the look that you would get back of that. I don't see it being worth it, but it is an option that, depending on, for some people, it could be worth it. So it's just my opinion, personal opinion. That Christian family saying, thanks for being so helpful. Your demeanor is professionally, especially for a St. Louis chick, and no shade, just facts. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. All I can say is that I am not as hood as most young ladies here, but I appreciate that. Glad to have a good demeanor and such. All right. Sure, you're saying, okay, I'll give it a whirl, but I'm really new. I said, thank you. Here's the tip. Here's the power tip. If you are very new, you do want to do some live streaming, but you're not trying to do all of this. Don't do that. First of all, give yourself some grace and know that you don't have to. There are no standards that say that you have to do any one thing or the other. The only thing that you have to do is serve your community. And a live stream can be 3 to 5 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes, or something like that. Have a top 3. A top 3 video is a great way to start doing that. So you're into fitness and things like that. That's what you're teaching. You can say, I'm going to give you the top 3 ways to stay hydrated for women, if that's the video. And that could be a 5-minute video. That means you're not giving excessive examples. You're not having to do any kind of secondary footage or B-roll or anything like that. It's just maybe tip number 1, find a bottle that you can carry around with you and have a time limit or recorder or reminder on your phone to have drank that bottle by 9 a.m., for example. You know what I'm saying? That's tip number 1. And you can say, for me, I like to use X, Y, and Z bottle because this works for me and blah, blah, blah. All right, tip number 2. None of that requires any slides, any PowerPoints. I didn't bring anybody's name up or anything on the screen. I'm just solely staying engaged and talking to the person, which may be a girl or female, depending on your target audience and niche. And just be yourself as best as you can be. So a fast and quick video, top 3 videos or 3 power tips around blah, 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 lets you stay on point. Even if you're an introvert, like if y'all met me in person, I'd probably feel a little like give me a few minutes. Like I'm an introvert. I prefer to be behind the scenes. I hate being out. Like it makes me feel some kind of way. But people like, you do so good on camera. It's just like, yeah, because I'm in my house, in my room, But if you are an introvert, take care. Me too. The thing is, though, you don't have to live stream for a long time. So when you're new, do something quick that you can do, or one power tip. Say, hey guys, welcome to the live stream. It's me, Cheryl. I wanted to give you a quick power tip around staying hydrated while you're quarantined. So tip number 1, or the power tip would be still the same thing as tip number 1 or whatever, but I'm not giving you multiple ones. Maybe I have 2 examples. If you feel like you'll be flustered as you're listing those, it's like the more, and that's another thing about live streaming. You will be more consistent, and honestly, it'll make you a better public speaker because you don't have slides prepared per se, or maybe you do and you can. But if it's something like this, just kind of off the top of the dome, pulling in a couple questions or whatever, or y'all asking questions at random, I have to be able to articulate my thoughts in a way that's clear, that makes sense for the live viewer and the replay. You know what I'm saying? So that helps you with that. So do power tips. Tuesday power tips with Cheryl, right? And these are 5-minute live streams. So if somebody hops on live, figure out if you want to say, hey person or whatever first, or whatever. If you're giving a point, finish your point and then go say hello, or whatever the case is, if they comment or something like that. Just do that. And 5 to 7 minutes. Doesn't have to be excessive. You don't have to feel like you have to have all the things. It could be on your phone or on your computer sitting across from a window. but start building those muscles and getting used to it, because if you decide to go longer, if you decide you want to do Q&As, kind of like how this is tonight, then you can do that, and you're comfortable, and you have a format, and you have a flow, and you can stop it whenever you feel like, or you can keep it going for as long as you want to. So even if you're new, you do not need to feel the pressure of being all of whoever it is that you follow or that you most admire for whatever things around video and stuff. You only need to figure out what works for you. I came up with my setup and stuff like this for what worked for me, not because anybody recommended anything. It's because I'm like, I'm not finna do. I was getting off work. I got endometriosis. I'm tired. I'm most of the time hungry. And it's just like, I want to go chill. I want to go watch anime. I don't want to sit up and be dealing with stuff. It's like, so that means coming up with like my record to edit process. Where does stuff need to be in the office that works for me? I'm not buying 73 lights to have this and shade that and grid this. And I ain't doing all that. Like, can I get 2 lights for $70 and make it work? Yes, I can. Freaking Barack Obama up in this mug. Yes, we can. 2 lights. Can I do this? What happens with that? Can I use a web camera and steal those 2 lights? Yes, I can. So it's just like, do I need an XLR microphone and an audio interface? And that, like, no, USB microphone works for years. No problem. Moving on. It's just like, so do what works for you. Figure out what works for you, and just honestly screw what everybody else says. So that's where I went. So you're saying have the M50 and the Mac. Cool. Then that'll work for you. All right. So a couple last questions here. So these are probably going to get a little bit more techie. So is it possible to blur the background in a live stream with the M50? As you can see in this video, this is a live stream. You can blur the background. When it comes to blurring the background on your live streams, it has nothing to do with the type of camera, for real. If you're using like a web camera, no, you need a lens. You need an actual camera with a lens. This is the Canon M50 and the kit lens. This kit lens is not going to get a blurry background like what you see. I would need what's called a prime lens. This lens goes from 15 millimeters up to 45 millimeters. That's why you see multiple numbers on there. You would need one that is just a prime lens per se, because those typically will have an aperture, or that number that has the F in front of it. The lower that F number can go on the lens, the blurrier the background can be. If you're looking for a blurry background for live streaming with a camera, an actual camera, you need to swap and get a different lens. You need something that is at least, or it says f2.8, either in description of that lens or on the front of the ring. You should be able to see that. And there is a video that should be coming out on the channel. I'll link that up above when it's available, about lenses and stuff like that. But you'll see that F number on the front of the lens, f2.8 or lower. So f1.7, f1.8, those kind of lenses, that is what you need to get blurry backgrounds. Now, you may look at the prices and you say, well, shoot, Diana, that's pretty expensive. Or maybe it's like something like this other lens that I have here, which is a third-party lens, meaning it's not like by Canon, it's by Yongnuo. Not that expensive. You just need to find something that's going to work for you. This one is like a f2.0 or whatever. That'll give you a blurry background like that. So that's what you need, a better lens. Captions say you have injured meteorologists. I don't know why at all, but there we are. So Cheryl, you're saying, okay, I'll give it a whirl, but I'm really new. You got this, Cheryl. You got this. Saying great examples. Thank you so much. My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. Final stretch here. All right. Already did that one. What's this one? All right. So this question is saying, what would you say is the simplest way to live stream? Elgato Camlink ? Okay. So when it comes to the easiest, the simplest way to live stream, if you have a Mac, Ecamm Live, hands down. If you have a PC, if you're not trying to add in a bunch of different things, maybe BeLive.tv or something like that. If you're not trying to use any kind of software, just use natively what these social platforms already have built in. Facebook, YouTube, use that. If you're doing that and you're wanting to introduce your camera to that setup and have a look like this, but you're just going straight to Facebook or YouTube or something like that, then you're going to need the Elgato Cam Link. And again, as I talked about with the difference between dark chocolate and white chocolate in the previous example, if you're using the HDMI type of a setup, know the limitations that come with that, the specific hacks that you're going to have to do to get around the 30-minute camera timeout limit and all of that stuff. If you're using software like with Ecamm Live, you don't have to worry about that. So honestly, I just had a buddy, he went and bought a Mac just so he could use Ecamm Live. I don't blame him. I bought my Mac, honestly. I was a PC user. I was just going to stick to the editing software that I was using, which is Wondershare Filmora. And I was just going to use it for like Ecamm Live and eventually Final Cut Pro 10. But then once I got to using it, I was just like, I love this so much more than stuff on my PC. So at that point, but honestly, if you have somebody that even has a Mac, borrow it. If it's somebody in your household especially, borrow it and honestly use Ecamm Live. I honestly would do whatever to get a Mac to just use Ecamm Live. It's the best way. All right, and last thing I want to share with you guys. So with everything that is going on right now with this global illness and things like that, a lot of local organizations, churches, and nonprofits and stuff like that are being hit really hard financially. And so if you have one that you love and care about, if you are a part of a church, a nonprofit, or ministry or something, and basically you have a 501c3 status, which basically qualifies you as a nonprofit or not-for-profit organization, hands down, absolutely send this to everybody that you know, and I'll put this clip on social and everywhere else. Send them to smile.amazon.com. Everybody needs to be on this. This is basically, Amazon has their organization where you basically can go to smile.amazon.com, select your organization, your church or nonprofit or whatever. I have my church listed so that any purchases that I'm making through Amazon, through this smile.amazon.com link, absolutely will send donations to, I think it's like a certain percentage. Now I'm not paying anything extra on top of that, but it will send a percentage to my church for that. I could switch that organization at any time, but absolutely get everybody that you know of that has a nonprofit or whatever that you care about, or that is just honestly doing a good work in the community. There's no extra added cost to us, the people that are on the purchasing end. You're still buying everything that we're probably going to be doing a whole lot of Amazon.com purchases over these next several months. Pick any organization, honestly, locally, that's serving your community or serving your city. So that way, instead of just going to Amazon.com, go to smile.amazon.com. That way, and even once you are set up, you do it one time. If you just go to Amazon.com, Amazon themselves will remind you and say, hey, do you want to make purchases through smile.amazon.com instead? You click yes, and it switches you over flawlessly. So absolutely, I think right now it's very important that we support our local nonprofits and organizations that are around us and ministries that we care about, because as they're getting less funds, that means that they can do less work in the community of what they have been doing. And if you have an organization that's a nonprofit that is serving, or even if you just saw them on the news serving and you don't have anybody to pick, just pick them. Like, do something. Please get this part out, and I will specifically chop this up into micro content for social. Share this with everybody that you know. Just tell them, like, is our church on smile.amazon.com? Is whatever. You can search for your city, or you can search via organization name, and it'll kind of pull up and tell you the city and stuff like that. But pick somebody so that we can continue to support the organizations that have been supporting our cities and our communities. So that's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So I literally want to get everybody that I know connected with somebody. Pick anybody local to you so that you can help serve them. So I hope that helps for everybody. So that's all I have as far as questions. Unless you have any specific questions regarding live streaming or something like that, then you can drop those down below. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up the stream for tonight. We've been going for quite some time, but I want to make sure that I'm here to serve you guys as much as possible. Excuse me. So a couple things, like I said, go to www. dianagladney.com/connected, because right now YouTube is having connectivity issues, as more social platforms probably have more issues coming up. Be sure to go to my website here specifically. This will tell you everywhere that I'm connected. If you want to, hop on the morning show for the Entree Chats Daily podcast that I'm doing, then you can do that, or Entree Chats Daily Show. That's Tuesday through Saturday, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then I have like the Video Simplified podcast, all the different things, Instagram, whatever. This just makes it super easy to have one place to tell you to go to stay connected, because should anything happen over these next several months where people can't get to work, YouTube is already saying they can't have all of their employees' staff to come to work or take their computers to work from home, because there's only some software that you must be on site to use. So I understand that, being in baking and stuff like that, some stuff you can only access through your intranet and stuff like that. So let's be compassionate and let's have empathy with these platforms and stuff that we're using. But as far as my audience and staying connected with you guys to give you guys as much value as possible in these coming months, go to dianagladney.com/connected so that we can actually stay connected. Sherry is saying, awesome idea, I would pass it along to my church. Yeah, it's like they don't even have to do anything. If they are registered, they should come up. So even if you just search, it's like you should be able to get them going. But just please pick anybody that's serving the community, because they need help right now. If they're, risking their lives and their health to be able to bring people water, do these backpacks and food for lunches for the kids, to help them and stuff like that. It's like we that probably would do stuff in our organizations locally or just volunteer work, we can't, it's because it's like you're adding to the risk and it's all this stuff and it sucks. And I am freaking sick of it. Like I wish I could help anyway, but this is the best way that I know how. Serve you as much as I can in the ways that I know how. And then we can all just help serve those organizations around and near us to just continue to do the work that they're doing, or just stay afloat, because unfortunately companies are shutting down. It's getting just like horrible. So the best ways that we can support them is if they're a 501c3, especially, is this way, especially. So pass that along as much as you can. Please, please, and more please. All right. So that's where I think I'm going to leave it for today's live stream. If you're watching this on the replay, thanks for your time and your attention, if you made it this far. So if you have any questions specific to live streaming or what have you, you can drop those in the comments, or even if you're live and you think of one later, you can drop that down below. Couple announcements, so to speak. I actually have the wonderful pleasure of being a speaker for Ecamm Live's upcoming summit that'll be in April. So I'm going to be sharing some of my 3 live streaming secrets to grow your YouTube channel using live streams. So that's going to be through Ecamm if you're subscribed to the Entree Insiders email community, which you'll find on the connected page, the dianagladney.com/connected. You can join the email community there. I already know that there's some deals and stuff coming down. If you are doing any kind of online anything, you're going to want these. They're looking really juicy. I wish I could take advantage of some of them, but I'm a speaker and we don't have that ability. So that's a thing. I'm doing my Getting Started with Video course. So you will be able to go to gettingstartedwithvideo.com. There's not anything there yet, but that'll be coming along just to be able to help you guys along the way. So that one's not actually going to be free. I've done free stuff for years, so this one's actually going to be something that's paid, but I'm going to be dumping as much value as possible, and there will be live streaming components along with that. So no, honestly, should be whatever you need to get started with video. All of these questions and stuff like that in modules, training modules, more than I've even done on the channel, which is honestly saying something. That's going to be available. So that'll be coming very soon as well. So that's all we got for today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you hit the like button. So if you haven't hit the like button and thumbs up, please be sure to do that. Over yonder will be another video that YouTube suggests, and all the videos that I specify regarding live streaming in the playlist I'll link up above as well. But with that, guys, live with passion, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Take care.